Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's nutrition, health, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that you start experiencing so many changes in this time of your life, whether it be hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, brain fog, or that weight gain around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere despite you not changing anything. So you go back to those tried and true methods of cutting calories, cutting carbs, doing a bunch of cardio, yet nothing seems to be working. In fact, it feels like you're putting in all this effort and you're just moving backwards. But we know now that your body is inherently different now that you've gone through these hormonal changes. So our mission here at Vitality is to really help you understand how your body changes in this time of your life so you can reach your health and fitness goals, feel in control and at home in your body again, live a life full of vitality, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So today, I want to share actually a webinar that we did in our Facebook community. Our Facebook community has over 21,000 wonderful women, all focused on improving their health, on understanding how their body works, how hormones contribute to everything. And we host bi-weekly webinars with different topics all the time in our Facebook group. And this is one of the ones that we just did recently 2 months ago. And we got such good feedback, and I thought about replicating it. And I was like, you know what? I think this is one that I just have to share. I just have to share it. So Coach Hannah and I really covered so many things because we know bloating gets worse during perimenopause and menopause. It makes us feel uncomfortable. We're not having regular bowel movements. We're gassy. We just don't feel great, right? And it seems like no matter what you do, you can't get a handle on it. So we covered very simple, very quick morning routines that will help you with your bloating and your bowel movements to help you feel better and also lose weight. But also, it's important to note that who has time for super long morning routines, right? Like if you have kids, if you have a career that you're rushing to, you don't have time for a 30, 40, an hour, 2-hour morning routine, right? So we wanted to make sure that this was stuff that you could actually do, start implementing today. So I hope you enjoy this episode. If you want to join the Facebook community to get more resources like the guides that come with all the webinars that we do within the community, just head to the show notes. There will be a link there for you. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Wonderful. So happy Tuesday, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about all things morning routines to help you with bloating, to help you with regular bowel movements, because we know there are so many issues that come with bloating and our gut health. If we aren't going to the bathroom regularly, we're reabsorbing toxins, there will be more inflammation, it'll affect our hormones. There is a cascade of things that make it a lot more difficult for you to A, lose weight, but B, also for you to be able to feel good. It doesn't feel great when you go to work and you're wearing one pair of pants, and at the end of the day, you feel like they're cutting into you and you're uncomfortable and you're constipated. Like you're just not in a good mood. You don't feel good. And no one's happy that way. So we want to alleviate all of those problems for you. So a lot of us have had issues with like inconsistent bowel movements. That used to be me. I used to think that going to the restroom like every 3 days was normal. It's not. I'm a lot happier now that I'm pooping regularly. Or like, sometimes some days you'll be bloated and you don't know why. Is it the food? Is it something else going on? Is it hormones? Or you're gassy and you can't figure out how to pinpoint it. And it sucks and it makes us uncomfortable and we just don't feel good. So I'm going to let Hannah kind of take away a little bit here about what we're going to talk about, and we'll dive right in. And again, like I said, if you have questions, please comment below in the video. If you're watching the recording, make sure you comment on the Zoom chat so we can answer your questions as we go along. But Hannah, you can take it away.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. What Steph just said is honestly the case for so many people around the globe, especially women, and so many of you in our program. So tonight we really want to help you to understand the basics of a morning routine for a more consistent and predictable day-to-day schedule for bowel movements. because everyone deserves to poop at least one time a day and have it be a good poop. Not only because, like Steph said, it keeps you healthy, gets those toxins out, but I mean, of course it does that, but it also is because nobody likes the unknowing of if an urge for a bowel movement is going to appear at any given moment. Maybe you're in the middle of a work meeting. Maybe you're driving to work, you're driving your kids to school. That's a terrible time to have the urge to poop. So this live tonight is some ways to help you have a more regular bowel movement schedule so we can avoid inconvenient times as much as possible.
Yes, so we are really focused on, generating bowel movements with this live, as often bloating and gas are going to accompany that if we're having slow digestion, if we're not going to the restroom regularly. So if we can create a more regular pooping schedule, we're likely going to alleviate so much gas, so much bloating. I used to suffer with bloating that would get so bad throughout the day. Some days I would poop, some days I wouldn't. It was not a good time. And they were not good poops either. You know the difference between a good poop and a bad poop, and they were never good poops. So there are tons of things that we can do on any given day to support your bowel movements. Though right now we're going to focus on what can be done every single morning in particular, whether you're at home or traveling or whatever the situation may be when you wake up. So following these suggestions will really help support those regular bowel movements, which then, improves your bloating throughout the day as well. And you just feel so much better.
Yeah, for sure. I just want everyone to take a second and imagine one of those days where you wake up in the morning and you go to put your favorite pair of jeans on and they're just way too tight because you're so bloated and you're like, what is happening? Often it's because we have slow bowel movements or we haven't had a bowel movement in a couple of days. So it just creates more and more gas and pressure in our abdomen, which is no fun. So what are things that we can do in the morning to help us have more regular bowel movements? And I want to preface this with, you can do all of these things tomorrow morning and you might not have a bowel movement. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. Consistency is really, really important for gut health in general, but especially having a regular bowel movement, which is why we're talking about morning routines, because you can take it anywhere. So the first thing is to get water into your system first thing in the morning, ideally 12 ounces or more in a short period of time. So consider having a glass or your water bottle or whatever on your headboard or your night table, or maybe in your bathroom, wherever you are. If you, like me, feed your animals in the morning, then having your water already filled up so it's ready to go when you go and feed your animal. But making sure that you get water in your system is super duper important. And there are a few reasons for this. Water in general, hydration in general, is going to support regular bowel movements because we need to be hydrated to have bowel movements that are comfortably going to pass through us. But also, water being the first thing that we drink in the morning is key to healthy digestion, because throughout the night, we're not drinking water. We become pretty dehydrated, especially because a lot of us are not going to drink many fluids before we go to bed because we don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. So sometimes it's 10 plus hours since you've had anything to drink. So the water should definitely be the first thing, because every single cell in our body is composed of water and other stuff, which is important, but water is in every single cell. So it's really, really essential that we get it in the morning. And then also drinking a large amount of water quickly, like this 12 ounces or more, will stimulate movement in your GI system, similar to how eating a meal does. So when we eat a meal, our brain signals to our GI system to release our digestive juices. And it's just this whole trickle effect that happens. When we drink a bunch of water, it fills up in our stomach. And so it's going to signal that same kind of thing, even though it's not food. And so when our bowels are stimulated, it doesn't just stimulate one part, it's a system. There's a reason it's called the GI system, because if it starts in one place, it's going to move things everywhere else as well. So if we're drinking lots of water, it's just going to move it fast. So the speed is key with morning hydration. If you consistently struggle with constipation or hard stools, this was me for like 4.5 months from like July, end of June through October of 2023. And it was the first time I went like that long in my life struggling. And I was like, this is absolutely miserable. And this tip here of drinking water quickly in the morning is one of the things that has consistently helped to ensure that I have easier to pass, more comfortable bowel movements, but also more regular. So yeah, if you struggle with hard stools or constipation, then you can also add in some aloe juice, like 2 to 4 ounces of aloe vera juice into this water in the morning. It will help to soften your bowel movements a little bit. It'll also help to soothe your intestinal lining. Though if you have SIBO, don't drink the aloe juice because it's just going to irritate it. So get that out first. Clearing that out will probably help with bowel movements too. But aloe juice is something that can soften those bowel movements in addition to that water. Again, not a must. The water though, that's a must because you can have water anywhere at home or when traveling.
So us collectively as a team, like we've traveled to a lot of conferences when I'm like speaking or we're going to events and things like that. The coaches will usually come with me, or like some of them they'll take turns coming, right, and joining us. And we all have like our morning routines to help us with our bowel movements. We all go to the grocery store together. We all buy aloe juice. Taylor likes to call it poop juice. That's what he refers to it as. But like we are always because traveling does naturally dehydrate you. It does cause constipation. Your routines are off. So your bowels can get pretty bad when you're traveling. You'll have more bloating, more constipation, things like that. And that's not what you want when you're traveling, because usually traveling is fun and you want to like wear cute clothes or like look a certain way and then you don't and you're frustrated. So having the water in the morning is a really, really big play, or utilizing that aloe juice is also really helpful. We're always cheering each other on. Someone's like, I think I'm going to try and poop. We're like, hey, and then they'll go and they'll come back and then they'll walk into the living room and we're like, did you have poop? And they'll be like, no. And we're like, oh man. Or if they say yes, then we're like, yay, like we're so excited. So we're a team that talks about poop a lot, but it's important. It makes you feel so much better. So the next tip, aside from water and aloe juice, is to take things slow, which so many of us tend to wake up and go, and we don't stop the go. Like we go, 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 go until we go to bed, right? And we're in that like go, go, go state. This is going to signal to your body that you are in fight or flight, AKA cortisol. Of course, we're going to talk about cortisol, you guys. And when we're in that state, when we're go, go, go and hustling all the time and rushing from one meeting to the next and eating on the run and traveling and then dropping our kids off and going to this and that and extracurriculars and working through lunch and all those things, your body's cortisol levels do go up. And then what happens when we're in that state is blood flow goes away from your gut and goes to your arms and legs and your brain to help you in the fight or flight states, to run away from the bear or fight the bear. Your body doesn't care about digestion. It shuts that off, puts blood flow where it's important. And then what happens is digestion like really slows down. So you'll be really, really hard pressed to feel the urge to go to the restroom when you're running away from a bear, because that's really not a convenient time for you to stop and go to the restroom, right? So it's this mimicking of this stress response that really slows down your digestion. And a lot of us are really guilty for this. This is also part of the reason why a lot of us struggle when we're traveling, is because like, yeah, we're relaxing, but we're also like on the go. Like we're going and doing stuff, or we have events or work travel and stuff, right? Or we're tired, not sleeping as much, all those things. And that's going to make a big difference. So if possible, sit down for 10, 20 minutes on the couch or in bed relaxing is ideal. So you could like read a book, you could journal, you could even play games on your phone, write out your schedule for the day, so long as it doesn't stress you out and it actually helps you feel better. Drink a cup of tea. You could do meditation. This is something that I don't do and cannot do because it stresses me out more. Connect with your partner, your children, snuggle with your animals in the morning, Maybe watch a cooking show. Try to avoid the news and intense shows because that can like really toss us in a tailspin, right? Maybe on Monday and Tuesday mornings, or Monday and Thursday mornings, you listen to the latest episode of our podcast that comes out, right? Maybe you're doing adult coloring books. There's so many things that you can do. And this is actually something that I have been trying to do. And I usually actually end up like working in bed a little bit. I'll be on my phone, kind of like scrolling my social media and answering a few messages, but I really enjoy that. But like not getting up right out of bed right away and like, running around and doing stuff and being frantic does tend to help me like a lot. Our animals will typically join us in bed. The cats, they'll come and cuddle for a little bit. And I'll visit with Taylor. We'll talk about whatever weird, messed up dreams we had the night before. They've been really wild lately. And that is like something that's helpful. So like everyone's like, oh, like get up and get out of bed really quickly. It's like, okay, yeah, you can, but like then try and like, sit and enjoy a cup of tea or read something or whatever that might be. So you're not just like up and on the go right away.
Yes. So Munchkin's here saying hello to everyone. She's very intrigued by and upset by my new standing desk because she can't just jump right up. But the third piece here for your morning routine is having a consistent breakfast time. So this is especially the case if you don't notice movement from the first two pieces here. A lot of times those first two pieces together, the water and the sitting, is enough to be like, oh, time to go. But if you don't notice that being the case, then a consistent breakfast time is super duper important. In general, consistent meal timing is an important aspect of healthy digestion because you're telling your body when to release these digestive juices and signal to be hungry and signal to be satiated. And so the more consistency we can have day to day with all meals, the better. It starts though with breakfast each day. So really aim to consistently begin eating breakfast within that first 60 to 90 minutes of waking up. If you can do so right after your sitting session, like starting to prep your breakfast, that will be good to ensure that you have more time in whatever the rest of your like morning routine is to get those digestive juices flowing, which, like I said, with the water, when we eat a meal, it doesn't just signal like the beginning of the digestive process. It signals like the whole thing to happen at once. And so there will be movements throughout your bowels even further along in order to make space for the new food that's coming in. And the more time you have to have this process happen before, the fight or flight things start to kick in, like driving to work or chauffeuring your children to school, or even like getting your kids up and ready for the day, all these things can be a little bit stress inducing, even if they're things that you love. So the more time that you have, so the earlier you can eat your breakfast after that sitting in water, the better to help with more consistent, regular bowel movements.
And like a good thing too is like we talk about like slowing down, like taking like a few really slow, deep breaths before you eat can really help get you out of that fight or flight. So let's say you wake up and you kind of have a moment of panic of whatever, like before all meals to help with digestion and bloating in general, like sit and take 5 really slow, deep breaths. Focus on like exhaling as slowly as possible. Be like, oh, does this really make a difference? Totally does. I do it with clients all the time. It helps so much to just like bring your heart rate down, your breathing down, blood can come back to your gut and really help with digestion, really help with bloating and getting things moving along. So that's a super quick, easy tip, especially like lunchtime. If you think about like how crazy work can be, take those 5 slow, deep breaths to make a huge difference. So the next thing here is another helpful piece to accelerate that bowel movement is a little bit of physical movement. So it can be just a 5 to 10 minute walk at a very relaxed pace. You are not exercising. This is like dawdling. This would be like the equivalent of like window shopping with a toddler. Like it's just very nice and slow and relaxed, okay? Maybe you're doing like some gentle mobility exercises to get all their major joints moving. Maybe it's a quick little yin yoga practice. So you might do this in place of your sitting time instead in the morning. So it's still relaxing and gentle movement. So you could be doing some like cat cows. You could be doing some child's pose, really trying to work into the hips, the shoulder, the neck, doing some thread the needles. You can be doing some 90-90s, some sitting on the floor stretching, like just trying to really get into those movements that are not really a workout, like it's just to get some blood flow moving. And of course, one of the best things that you can do is getting in a deep squat, because that is the correct pooping posture. That is why those squatty potties were all the rage. They actually work because they put your pelvis in a better position and allow you to go to the restroom better.
Yeah, so like the gentle kinds of movement, you just want to think about like, can you get some gentle compression and release in like your lower abdominal area, your hips? Can you do some ringing of your spine? Because our digestive system starts in our mouth and it goes all the way down at our butt. So we have like all of this space. So if we can create a little bit of movement, that can be super helpful. You can even do like an abdominal massage, but you might as well get a little mobility action in there as well. But yes, squatty potties, if you don't have one and you have poop issues, go to Amazon right now and buy one, because they do really help. When I travel and I don't have one, I'm like, it takes so much longer to go to the bathroom. But this next one is that some people are just so conditioned after decades of drinking a caffeinated beverage in the morning, where their body just isn't gonna go without coffee. Not to call out Coach Cariana, but I'm gonna call her out here. She always says, can't do anything without her coffee in the morning because she's got to go poop. So this is just one of the things that some people need, but make sure that you have at least some of your breakfast beforehand. We talk about caffeine on an empty stomach a lot. We don't want that. We don't need added cortisol elevation in our day. We don't need more potential for dysregulated blood sugar. So eat at least like a third of your breakfast, specifically the proteiny and fibery bits of your breakfast. Then you can start to drink your coffee. I know some people, they're like, it's literally one sip and then I'm in the bathroom. Quite honestly, I think that might be a mental thing if that's the way that it is. But for some people, it's like, okay, halfway through, they're ready to go. And that's okay.
Yeah, and I know so many women are concerned with their blood sugar and they do the fasting thing. They don't have the breakfast, but they have coffee on an empty stomach. A lot of women, if you have coffee on an empty stomach, will actually spike your blood sugars. So eat your breakfast first, please. Like when people hop on consultation calls now and they're like, now since I started listening to you, I started having breakfast before having my coffee. And I'm like, yes, like it makes me so happy. So if you're not doing that yet, please do so. And your morning routine is something that you can do anywhere you are in the world. Okay. If you journal, it's easy to take that journal with you, right? If you can take a book with you, fantastic. Most of the objects that you need for your morning routine, which helps stimulate a regular bathroom routine, are going to be easy to travel with. So, having your water bottle, like we fill up water bottles and put them on our nightstand at nighttime. So if I wake up, I might have a sip, but in the morning, I am drinking water while I'm getting ready. And usually in a pretty short period of time, then have breakfast and coffee. And like that usually does it for me. But again, that's like, how hard is it to bring a water bottle with you? Not hard at all.
Yeah, honestly, I don't understand how people or why people don't travel with their like reusable water bottles at this point. A, water bottle purchasing is just so absurdly expensive. B, plastic. We don't need to be consuming more plastic. There's already a lot of it on our bodies. C, most of the things that we think are recyclable aren't actually recyclable. So there's just a lot of layers there. Just bring your reusable water bottles, my friends. But yeah, in general, developing a consistent start to your day is going to really support the regularity of bowel movements and also allow you to mitigate morning cortisol spikes, since you know what to expect for those first 20 to 30 or so minutes of your day, which is great. If you can have 20 to 30 minutes of consistency in your mornings, you are off to a wonderful, wonderful start in your day.
Exactly. So some reminders on some other things to do during the day to help support those bowel movements are going to be one, eating adequate amounts of fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Some people are like, but I eat a lot of fiber. I'm like, yeah, but it's a lot of one kind. You got to get soluble and insoluble because one adds bulk to your stool and the other one makes it easier to pass. So if you have too much of one or too much of the other, you're going to either have diarrhea or constipation, and we don't like either of those. So try to stay within your comfortable range, because also major increases and decreases is going to throw your gut into distress. It can be as little as 5 grams in a day. We don't want a bigger fluctuation than that for most people. Like I hop on consultation calls with people all the time, and it's like, oh my gosh, like one day it's like 25 grams, the next day it's 61. Like it is wild, the fluctuations, or it's like 9 to 25. And like, again, that's huge, huge changes. So we need to really watch how much fiber we're getting, but also where are you getting foods that are getting like that high of numbers? Usually it's coming from our processed health foods. Like I did a thing about like the carbonate bread. First of all, it's 180 calories for 2 slices, not 80. They're liars because they took out the calories from fiber, which your body can break down. But also it's 17 grams of fiber for 2 pieces of bread. I am someone, I have to stay within the 15 to 20 range. If I go higher than that, I'm constipated. Like that's not going to happen. But the fiber that you're getting from those health wraps, the low carb tortillas, the low carb breads, the keto brownies, and the Pop-Tarts and the cookies and all those things are packed with fake fibers. So they're not naturally occurring, they're manufactured, and our body doesn't break it down as well either, leading to more gas, more bloating. It can really cause a lot of inflammation. It can lead to leaky gut down the road. So pay attention to how much fiber you're having. If your app doesn't have that, that's a problem. If you're tracking, you should be checking that out. But this is like one of the huge things that I am seeing recently in particular, because people are traveling lots right now. They're going camping, they're doing all these things, and they're really relying on these like quote unquote processed health foods, right? Health foods in quotations, because they're easy to travel with and it's an easy way to get protein, but then your fiber is astronomical and you feel terrible. So pay attention to your fiber. We want to stay in like a 5 to 7 gram range. Like that typically, if you're outside of that, you're not going to feel super great. And then really pay attention to where is it coming from, because that's going to make a big difference for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. I have had a lot of conversations with women recently, and their fiber is like 9 grams, and then it's 25 grams. And maybe if like 95% of your days were like 21 to 25 grams, one day of 9 grams of fiber, probably not going to be like horrible. You might be constipated for a day, but a back and forth like that is utter chaos for your digestive system. And so aiming to be within like a 5 gram range really consistently is the best thing that we can do, especially if you know that you are sensitive to fiber, like you are, Steph. On the other hand, can function very well in like a 15 gram range because I eat an absurd amount of fiber, honestly. I kind of just always have. So my body is not as sensitive like to the higher numbers, but if I go below 20, forget it. I probably am not going to poop for 3 days. So find what works for you, and the general range that we want to shoot for most people is going to be like 25 for an adult female. But like Steph said, everyone is different. The next general reminder is drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. If you live in a really hot climate, if you live in a really humid climate, if you're doing a lot of physical activity, if you sweat a lot, if you're sitting in a sauna, if you're flying on an airplane, all of these things are reasons to drink even more water because they are going to naturally dehydrate you. And so if you're doing any of those, half your body weight in ounces of water plus 15 or so ounces for every hour where you may be doing one of these things. So say you're on a 4-hour flight and then you're also flying to somewhere that's really hot and humid and you're going to work out there. All right, well, you're probably going to need like 1.5 of your normal water intake. So keep those things in mind because that is like the first place where if we're dehydrated, probably not going to have a good, happy, functional, desirable, comfortable, good bowel movement. And we all deserve that.
The next one is my favorite tip. I encourage everyone to do it. It is so helpful for so many reasons, but it's feet up. So this is where you're laying on the ground or you're laying in bed and you're putting your feet up on the wall. So your body's kind of making like an L shape. And what that does is when we're in that high stress state, like I said, your blood flow goes away from your gut and goes to your arms and legs to fight the bear, run away from the bear. So by putting your feet up, you let gravity do the work to bring blood flow back to your gut, to help you digest, to help you with the bloating, the constipation. Focus on slow, deep breathing while you're doing this. Just for 5 to 10 minutes can make such a huge difference. It brings our cortisol levels down. It is one of the best things. You can add in some abdominal massage. You can do the I love you tummy massage and just try to get things moving in your gut. If you can do this somewhere midday, that's ideal because we're so go, 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 go all the time. If we can insert that somewhere in the day to let yourself come out of that fight or flight mode, that's ideal. Doing it before bed is also super helpful to help you fall asleep. A lot of the women in our program say when we started doing it, they started falling asleep when they had their feet up. So that just goes to show how much it brings those cortisol levels down, which is great. But it helps so much with digestion, especially if you are someone whose bloating gets worse throughout the day. This is one of the best things that you can do because it's actively taking you out of that fight or flight. Because if bloating gets worse throughout the day, typically that's a stress bloat, a cortisol bloat. So this really helps you combat that. It'll take time and consistency for that to come up, right? It's not just going to happen overnight. If you find your lower back gets sore, you can put yourself a little bit further away from the wall, or you can bend your knees a little bit, put a little pillow on your low back. Those are all strategies to help you just feel more comfortable. That also shows that you've got some tension in some areas that we also got to work on with mobility as well.
Yeah. Abdominal massage wise, 2 years ago when we were in Arizona, Steph, you were releasing my abdominal muscles, and I'll never forget you saying, you're probably going to have a really big poop or pee a lot or both after this. And she wasn't wrong, everybody. She was right. But I don't even know what it was that you were doing. It wasn't the I love you massage, but it was right underneath my ribs. I do it to myself all the time. It feels great. And pretty much without fail, the next morning, if I do it when I'm laying in bed, I'll go and have a great bowel movement.
Everything's just so interconnected. I learned that so much from osteo school and stuff, where it's it's funny because we did some visceral stuff and then certain abdominal fascial releases. And it's funny because the instructor was always okay, this day, there's going to be a lineup at the bathroom. And then of course, absolutely. Everyone's having to go to the bathroom throughout the day. It was so funny.
That was really funny, but it works. It really does. It works. And that kind of ties into the next reminder is just to move periodically throughout your day. This isn't just your exercise. We're not saying exercise multiple times a day. No, a lot of us don't even exercise every single day. But move periodically throughout your day, taking walks, maybe taking a lap around the office if you don't have time to leave and go for a walk, or if the weather is terrible, or if it's freezing, just move around. Doing some air squats even, or even push-ups against the wall or a countertop, taking a posture break and just standing up and stretching like this. These kind of things make a really big difference, and they help to make blood flow a little bit faster. And that blood flow, similar to laying with your legs up the wall, is going to help with your bowel movements. The more sedentary we are throughout the day, the more likely we are to have slow bowels and constipation, because there's not an opportunity for space and gravity to do their job with moving things through our bowels. So it doesn't have to be an hour-long workout. I don't want that. I want you to just stand up, take a couple laps, maybe do some high knees and rotate with it. Super duper simple. Those kind of bouts of movement throughout the day are great for healthy digestion.
Yeah, huge, huge, huge. Just doing little things like that can make such a big difference. And the other thing too that I want to add is pay attention to the kind of clothes that you're wearing. Because this is something I figured out when I was in my osteo clinic, when I was running that, was I would have some days I'd notice I would get such worse bloating than others. And I'm hey, everything is the same. Like, what is different? And it was because of certain pants that I was wearing, that they were just like tighter around the waistband. Then if I was sitting all day, like treating clients, and I wasn't like up walking around as much, or it was just like the pressure from the pants fitting too tight, like it totally constricts your blood flow for things to get moving and digesting, builds up gas and inflammation. Like I'd be so gassy after those days and look so bloated. And I was like, what is happening? Just wear pants that fit. Like don't try and squeeze into things that aren't comfortable, because you're not going to feel good. You're going to be really hard on yourself and have a bad body image day at the end of the day anyways. So wear clothes that fit. Or there's so many stretchy pants now, you guys. Like there are pants out there that like you don't even have zippers. There are dress pants that are basically the yoga pants in disguise, and I love it. So choose those things, like you will feel so much better, so much better. So now we're going to share our morning routines and other little things that kind of help us out. So for me, my morning routine, honestly, I set my alarm and I'll lay in bed for a little bit. Usually at least 10 to 20 minutes, I'm going to be honest. And I'll usually post my social media post in the morning from bed, because I already have it like planned out from the day before. So I'll post it, but while I'm laying in bed, I'll sit with like in the butterfly pose. So your feet are together, and I let my knees fall out to the side, because at nighttime I sleep like curled up. So my hip flexors and stuff get tight. So that just helps open up like your pelvic floor, your hip flexors. Again, allows blood flow to kind of move around, which is great. I'll drink water from my water bottle while I'm laying in bed, while I'm getting ready. But I'll have my breakfast, my coffee. But like my morning routine's like pretty low key, nothing too crazy. But I always drink my water first, do the stretching, lay in bed, give myself some time in the morning, to not have that like aggressive start, because my body does not love that. When I'm traveling, water is a must. Water and electrolytes to keep my hydration, big time. I like using the Noom tablets. They're like, you can buy them at like Sport Check, and like, that's where I always found them first, but you can buy them at gas stations and stuff like that now as well. So hydration is huge, huge, huge. And then keeping with like a normal food timing is really important. And that's where I struggle the most, is with travel. I move time zones a lot. So my meal times are off, right? Like if I'm going east, my breakfast is like 2 hours earlier than it usually is, or more than that. Cause usually if I'm going east, I have, or no, is it later, earlier? Later. It's later. So it's like your timing's just off, but then my evening is like messed up, like, and my sleep schedule's messed up. So like the timing, my body's just all kinds of confused. So I always find that really challenging. So trying to get as close to your regular meal time is good. But I mean, I spend so much time in like hotels, being like at conferences and dehydrated and stuff like that. So water is a really big one. And then really prioritizing the right kind of fiber for me. So paying attention to where that's coming from. And like really watching them not too overly tempted to have all those like protein bars and things like that, because then it's like just not a good situation. Not a good situation at all.
For me, protein bars is just like a nice little cork in your digestive system. It's like, nope. Yeah, so for me, water, like I said, is a big one. This is 40 ounces. I have a 30-ounce cup that I specifically designate to be my morning poop hydration cup. Sometimes I drink from it throughout the day, like if I have electrolytes in here and I just want some water. But every night I fill it up. It's 30 ounces of water. I sit on the couch after I feed the cat and I drink it. Right now, when I'm sitting on the couch, I've been playing the New York Times games on my phone. My parents and I are all playing them. We send it to each other when we finish. Sometimes I read, sometimes I watch a YouTube video, but I'm literally just sitting there, often like sitting crisscross applesauce or in a butterfly position also, like opening up my hips. And if it's been a while, like a couple of days since I've had like a comfortable bowel movement, I will add in 2-ish ounces of aloe either in the morning or in the evening, or if it's really bad, I'll do both. And if it has been a long time, so like more than 2 complete days where I haven't had any bowel movement, that's when I bring in the big guns of magnesium oxide, and I'll take some of that this is not part of my morning routine, but I'll take it with dinner so that the next morning, my morning routine is successful. But yeah, like Steph said, hydration is huge. That is like the number one thing for me. Anywhere I go, like that is my goal. Even if it's like just a glass of water, that's 12 ounces. I'll make sure that I drink at least 2 of those before I move away from the sink, and then I'll go sit down so that I can have that same type of relaxation. Usually it's like 10 minutes and my body's like, all right, let's go. And it's a beautiful thing.
Actually, and then the other 2 things that I do regularly is like the feet up and changing my clothes. Like those are 2 things that have honestly been game changers in the last like 3 years, 3 years, 4 years, like paying attention to my clothes, like how they fit so they're not like digging into my abdomen, and then doing the feet up throughout the day, like at least once throughout the day and then once in the evening. Like huge game changers for helping with bloat and having regular bowel movements. Like I'm so much more comfortable than I used to be. It's insane because like the pain from the bloating would be so intense sometimes. It was just not good. So those 2 made like huge wonders for me, big time.
Yeah. And like shorts, if I have like some of the seamless pants and shorts, the waistbands are so freaking tight. And like they're fine for a workout, but then if I'm sitting at my desk all day long, or if I'm driving long distance, I'm like, these are so uncomfortable. They just like squeeze you in way too tight. And so in the morning, I make sure that I have like just either sweatpants or loose shorts on, because if I put those on, even if I'm going to go work out early, it's not happening. I'm not having bowel movement.
No, and like I remember driving, like, 'cause I used to drive quite a lot for work, and wearing jeans, I would always unbuckle my jeans, unzip my jeans when I was driving. And I didn't care. I'm like, this is way more comfortable. And when I'm at home, I wear Taylor sweatpants like all day. Like when I'm podcasting, you guys, and like you see like the videos, I am always wearing the sweatpants, like always. So on top, I might have like a nice blazer or like a cardigan or something, but sweatpants all day because comfort is important and it makes you feel so much better.
Comfort is key.
Yeah, exactly. So if you've had a call with me and I look like put together, 1000% I'm wearing sweatpants underneath. You just don't know this. Okay, perfect. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have questions in terms of other things that you can be doing for your digestion, we can dive more into like nutrition and stuff on another evening. But you can always message me. I'm always happy to help. These are all little things that are like completely free for you guys to try and start doing that you are going to benefit from, because we always think bloating or not being able to poop is like a food thing. And it can be sometimes, right? We talked about the fiber stuff and like not having whole foods, but also sometimes it's just like your pants are too tight. Like sometimes it's really as simple as that, which sounds crazy. So I hope this was helpful. If you have questions about nutrition or anything at all, please reach out. I'm always happy to help. And we will talk to you soon. Bye.